Clap sync. I dub thee.
Insert instrument name here.
Hello, welcome to day 29 of VEDIM. Today, we're going to be naming all of my unnamed instruments. This is an idea that I had both because I just like naming things in general, and also I wanted to give name tags on my instruments using the yellow trench tape and a Sharpie because it's something I saw Tyler Joseph do with his bass during the trench era, and I was like, that looks sick. So throughout the month, I've been trying to figure out names for the instruments that I haven't named, and we will go through all of them. Here's a list of all the instruments that have yet to be named. And seeing as I've already picked out names for almost every single one of my instruments, I'm gonna go through them all and explain my thought process for each one. So first up, for my ukulele, I will be naming it Lilo, because Lilo and Stitch is actually my all-time favorite Disney movie. Plus, I feel like ukulele and Hawaiian Disney movie seems to fit very well together. Plus, as I was trying to figure out a name for the ukulele, I was trying to figure out ways to just mess with the word ukulele, and ukulele came to mind. So now that I think about it, I'm gonna name it ukulele. Perfect. So what I'll do is I'll use the front of this notebook. Just kind of place it here. Ta-da! We'll grab the ukulele, stick it on the back. Next is my acoustic guitar, which I'm going to be naming Anomaly, for the sole reason that it will forever remain a mystery why I ever got the instrument and why I ever thought I could play it. Somehow, despite not playing it for like 10 years, I still own it. I think I do like the idea of just making this one very triangular, just to add a little bit of weirdness. Okay, this one I can't really fit underneath the camera, so we'll put it here, maybe near the top. Like so. There it is. It is so out of tune. There is literally hair on this thing. Next up is the bass guitar, which I'm going to be naming June. The reason for this is because the bass guitar has a blue cover which fits the blue era of Junemu, and also because the first ever cover it appeared in was in a Junemu cover during the month of June. And on top of that, it just makes me think of AJR's song Christmas in June. Henceforth, it will be named June, the bass guitar. Place that down. And write in the name. This I think I will place in the same position that Tyler places his, right up here. Perfect. Say hello to June. Next up is my kalimba, which I haven't really shown in any videos so far, but hey, I have a kalimba. Now, originally I was gonna name it Neo. The reason for that is because I got it on my birthday, and the first song I ever played on it was Birthday Party by AJR from their album Neo Theater. But then later in May, I decided to change the name up to Simba, and part of that is because I want to forever remember and dedicate one of the most iconic moments in VEDIM history, the horrible disfiguration of Simba. And... Oh no! It doesn't look like he's holding him up above. It looks like he's dunking him into the ground. The second reason I wanted to name it Simba was just because calling it Simba the Kalimba brings me so much joy. So cheers to you, Simba the Kalimba. A circle of life. Yeah. Maybe I'll put it here. Some of these I might redo later, but as of now, here is Simba the Kalimba. Up next, we've got the Donner keyboard, which I have so lovingly named quinoa. I got this keyboard as part of a sponsored video with the brand Donner, who agreed to send me the keyboard so that I could create a cover of Bang by AJR. And so to make a connection there and dedicate it to that really fun partnership cover, I wanted to make a reference to one of the lines from the song, which is, "Put quinoa in my fridge, still I'm not feeling grown." And also, as I transition to the next stage of life through college, I find it really fitting. So say hello to the world, quinoa the keyboard. Also, if you can't tell by this point, I'm kind of a sucker for alliteration. Peel this off. And because the keyboards in the drum kit are all further away and very heavy to move, I will take the camera with me and place these on. We'll try and place it here somewhere on the back. And then I have two names left for two of the most important instruments in my life right now, and these definitely have a crazy amount more thought put into them. So the first that I'll go into is my Roland drum kit, which is my favorite drum kit of all time. And originally I was thinking, should I name it Wackety Smack, since that is sometimes my account name for when I just need to create things, and it's also just a really fun thing to say. There's some more history to that phrase as well. I've used it in plenty of places. And then I thought, should I name it something 21 Pilots related? Because that is one of the reasons that I got the kit to start off with. So do I name it something trench related, since that is the era that I got it in? Should I name it Clancy, because that was part of the 21 Pilots lore at the time of the trench release? And then I kind of figured I want to do something that has to talk about Josh Dun, since he was like my biggest drumming inspiration. And at the same time, I do want to make it personal and have something that talks more about how I feel about the kit and what it's done for me. And so after a lot of research and figuring out what I could give it as a unique name, I have decided to call it Dunexus. Also could be pronounced Dunexus. Doesn't really matter, either works. So let me break the name down. The shorter part of this is du, which is apparently a French translation of the contraction words of the words of and the. The word nexus is a Latin word which means connectedness, and I definitely wanted to have that part of the word in there because when I'm behind the drums, I do feel very connected both to the instrument and to myself personally. And what I mean by that is that I've mentioned this before in other videos, but typically I'm a very fidgety person and I'm someone who can at times have trouble focusing or concentrating. But behind the kit, there's so much to do and so much to pay attention to that I sometimes feel my calmest behind the drum kit. It's something that's helped me to express myself. It's something that's helped me to feel connected to what I'm doing. And that drum kit has been a source of therapy. It has been a source of expression. It has been just a source of fun. And I do genuinely feel a connection to this instrument. And so I thought to put those two words together, I could name it something that would literally mean of connectedness. Plus, I thought this is perfect because when you stick those two words together, those first three letters of the conjoined word create the last name of Josh Dun, the drummer of 21 Pilots and my biggest inspiration. So I dubbed the drums the Nexus. And the final name that I figured out is for the instrument that started this all, my Yamaha keyboard. This one again is a bit more complex in terms of the thought process that went behind it. So the reason that I got that keyboard to begin with was because I wanted to have an instrument to keep in my room that I could just practice at any time I wanted. And it was mainly because I was into a lot of 21 Pilots songs at the time and wanted to be able to practice a lot of those without playing them for hours and hours on the loud acoustic piano that we have in our house downstairs. 21 Pilots was a huge source of inspiration for me into how I got into music to begin with. And that piano by itself was kind of one of the biggest stepping stones into the world of instruments and music production, and I've used that keyboard for almost everything by this point. So I've named it Author, and you'll notice that it is spelled incorrectly, and here are all the reasons for why it's named this. For one, it is a mix of the words author and Arthur. The name Arthur is in reference to Arthur Miller, the author of All My Sons, which was the play that inspired the name 21 Pilots. Pilots. And as I just told you, 21 Pilots was one of the biggest inspirations for me and helped me get started with a lot of where I am now. And the second part of this is the word author, which I thought would be fitting to give as part of the name to the instrument that helped me write the story of all of this. The covers, the connections I've made with friends through music, and the rest of the musical journey that is to come. And lastly, I just like to incorrectly spell words. So to the instrument that began writing all of this out, I name you Author. And so, that covers almost all the instruments, but there is one missing, and it is the cajon that I've had for the past maybe 2 years by this point. That cajon holds a lot of stickers from different bands and different things that I've just enjoyed, and honestly, I couldn't really figure out a name for it. I figured the best I could do is either name it Box because it's such a plain, simple name, or I could name it Sphere, ironically, and I thought that both of those, while they'd be maybe mildly funny, just didn't fit a cajon that held as many stickers that were important to me as they are. Then I kind of thought about this VEDIM project as a whole, and I kind of wanted to do something that would help dedicate this whole project to an instrument. I also wanted to do something that went a little further outside of just the videos I made, and I wanted to have you as a part of it. So, as one of the last interactive events of VEDIM, I want you to help me choose a name for this cajon. So if you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. They could be related to the channel, they could be related to VEDIM, they could be related to something musical, something related to any of the bands or subjects that are on that cajon. Be as creative as you want and throw them down in the comments. And from those comments, I will also take the name suggestions and maybe some name suggestions on Instagram. And I will take some of the top suggestions and I'll have them done as a poll on my Instagram account at HeyI'mNateYT. So overall, it will pretty much be purely community picked. And I thought it would be a fitting way to grant a name to an instrument, showing my appreciation to the people who have supported me on VEDIM so far. And that's it. All the instruments finally have a name to them, and maybe more instruments will come in the future, and I will have to figure out some names for those. But until then, thank you for watching this video, and thank you for sticking around on VEDIM. I'll see you in the second to last one tomorrow, and until tomorrow, bye. Your decision as to what you choose for the name of this cajon will impact the life of this instrument forever. Good luck!